one of the things I want to assure everybody that none of this is done on a arbitrary random basis. Like, hey, listen, we don't want to work anymore on this. And I know people don't think that. The other part that I do want to emphasize, I'm a former coach. I woke up every single year of my 20 some years of coaching. And my goal every single day, whether I thought we could do it or not, was to get to the state tournament. When I walked into St. John Arena a couple of weeks ago, or several weeks ago for the first time, the first thing I did was point to the seat where I sat when my high school coach brought me to the event. I pointed to the seat where I sat when Clark Kellogg, scored so big. And I remember all that. I don't take it lightly, and that's very emotional for me. That was the pride and joy. I ran the state tournament in my former role. I loved and embarked on that when the girls walked out of the tunnel or the guys walked out of the tunnel onto the court, to see the eyes, to see the smiles. And it's what I do. So none of that is taken lightly. I appreciate being able to say that. Secondly, though, and I think, I'm following those, and we as a staff are following everything on a daily basis. We have been exploring, eventually, if you're going to do something, you have to have a place to play it. And, again, I've said it repeatedly here. I don't want our regulations to box us into what we can or cannot do. I want our people to think creatively. Our staff, they'd almost laugh when I tell you that, because they know I'm a very off the wall thinker. I know there's a barn available on Old Route 30 between Upper Sandusky and Bucyrus, and if we could get it, we'd probably play there. Again, I want the creativity. The other hand of that is that, sites more and more, I did a lot of research today on sites, how far they're closed down, meaning how long into this, that some have committed to closing them down even into July. The Olympics being canceled, or at least postponed for an entire year. There has to be some validity in that. To think that we're going to be able to do something that those events cannot, that weighs on me a little bit. So, again, as I'm processing data each and every day, I think somebody took it that a decision was going to be made in 24 to 48 hours. And I'm not going to go back and listen to my comments, but, I thought somebody asked me, could it be done, in that time? Yeah, it could be, because everything's on the table. But I'm looking at data every single day, every single news conference, trying to get into some background or some behind the scenes info from the governor's office, if I can, on relative to schools being closed, how much longer. But you also see, too, the number of states surrounding us that now have closed schools for a longer period of time. That all enters into it. So, we are going to have to make a decision pretty soon. I know that.
Do you have any idea? Could it be a week out? I know I don't want to box you in, but
no, it could be. It could be. And I think, one of the things I've tried to more stress internally, one is, tell me why we can't do something. Tell me why we can't. And at least I'm looking at every option that we could. But two, the volatility of everything, the fluidness of how everything changes. Yesterday, when the president came out and said he hopes to have everything open by Easter, I think I have to weigh that a little carefully. It is the president talking, but that also contradicts a lot of our local state authorities. So that kind of clouded the issue a little bit, to be honest with you, a little bit. But again, nobody wants to do this better than me. So I don't really know how soon. The other part I have to look at, whether it's winter sports or spring sports, the reality is our kids aren't able to do anything else anyhow. So it's not like making that decision is so critical so they can go do something else. Mm-hmm. That really is not the case. I know people want to know, and I get that. I want to know. I could sleep easier at night. But again, it's probably going to have to be sometime soon. We can't drag it on forever.
In regards to spring sports, you just mentioned, obviously, baseball and softball and some of the other stuff that fans are wondering. Is there any chance that, because given the timeline of schools and things, any chance that you think that's a possibility, or is that still kind of up in the air as well?
I do think there's a real possibility there. There are a lot of variables on this. I mean, everything from, we have a plan in place assuming that we would go back to school on April 6th. Now, we can all bet whether we're going to or not, but the bottom line is it does say April 6th right now. So we have a plan in place to start on April 6th or April 7th, whatever that Monday is. So I hold out hope on that. Now, again, President says Easter. That's a week or two later. We have a plan in place if that's the case. I've heard, well, a few surrounding states are out until May 1st. We still feel confident we could do something creatively. It won't be the full season without a doubt, uh, even if we go back May 1st. One of the challenges, people talk about extending this spring seasons all the way into August. There are a lot of challenges with that. Schools may not be available to host things. And I also want to make sure that the playing field is as level for everybody, not just a few schools that could make their sites available. But I hold a lot of hope out for the spring seasons.
And then the last thing I just wanted to check with you, and I know this is really emotional for you, it's really important for you, knowing how, and I've seen on social media, and some people, quite frankly, just don't get it, that this is
Right.
for the betterment of everybody. But if you could speak exclusively to those players and specifically those seniors there's not that closure, what do you say to them?
And what a great question, because again, as emotional as it is for me, as I mentioned, as a former coach, former player, everything, I've lived that life of one of those kids that their dream is waking up every day trying to get to that state tournament. Little Evergreen High School up on the Ohio Michigan border, west of Toledo, they've never had a year like this. They may never have it again. Ridgewood High School may never have another year like this in their history. I can go right down Napoleon High School and girls. It is a community event. I sympathize with them. I don't want to, I'll sound bad when I say it, but right now it's not my organization or our organization that's taking this away from them right now. It's a horrible virus that we've never had to deal with, at least in my lifetime. So again, I'll take the responsibility for the decisions, but I think kids need to understand that. I have reached out. One of the things I looked at, you look at the University of Dayton, opposite end of the state of you, but you know, number 3 team in the nation, legitimate chance to win the NCAA title, the AP Player of the Year. They're never going to have that opportunity like that again, at least that we know of. They're going through it too. And, I wish, I know I won't be able to quite, but I hope I can personally reach out to every one of those kids in some kind in their school. And I know what I face if we end up having to cancel. I'm not going to be the most popular guy in the world, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'd love to talk to them face to face. I've had great communication with many kids so far on email, and I think there's a respect there for the toughness of all the decisions ahead of us.
Well, Commissioner, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and I know you got a busy schedule and everything, and we appreciate all that you've done for the schools throughout the state and specifically in our area and the Youngstown area. And we wish you all the best. If there's anything else we can do to help you and kind of your mission and any of that stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out. But again, thanks for everything.
You're doing that, and I need to throw that right back at you. What you've done through the years is you have made high school sports what they are today. You've made them that the pressure or the emphasis is on them, that people want them back. And I think without you, if that doesn't highlight that it took everybody to get to this point, it took everybody to realize the importance of it. And I owe you a lot because sometimes you're on the front of the scene, but right now you're the behind the scenes that's made all this happen to get us to the point where people want it back. And I just implore you, and I know you will, help us get it back. And I know you will.